Hello, good evening, you guys, and welcome to Real Talk with Tamara. As you guys come into the room, please do hit the like button. Also, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel. I hope that you guys are doing okay. I know that I am. I always express the importance of hitting the like button because the like button helps to keep the video in the algorithm. You guys, please like, share, subscribe, comment, and all of those wonderful things. Okay. You guys, I wanted to talk about could Cornelius Smith and Trayon Ingram be solving other cases? Okay. And I'm just going to give my perspective. Okay. No one has told me anything. I'm just giving my perspective on things. Um, as far as Cornelius and Trayon goes. Now, we do know that Trayon is down in um, Covington, okay? He committed crime down in Covington. I think Covington is about maybe an hour and 5 minutes outside of Memphis. Um, it's right on the other side of Millington, I do believe. And it definitely connects, that county connects with Shelby County down on the other side of Millington. And, we know that Trayon's case has been extremely that Covington has been very quiet, right? When Trayon was going to court and all of those good things, um, they really didn't broadcast it. You couldn't really go online and see when Trayon was going to court and all of that. Okay, they kept it extremely, extremely private. Okay, what I'm doing is, if y'all hear me, I'm trying to get to some video because I'm going to talk about Cornelius Smith next. Okay. Um, let's see. When they had Cornelius on the stand. Okay, here it is right here. They didn't, Trayon case. You didn't hear a lot about it in the media. They didn't broadcast any when he was going to court. The news media only talked about him every now and again. They didn't really give any information. Um, when was kind of, I don't know, weird to me is the person. Okay. And I'm gonna tell you another case that was similar. The news did, it was kind of the same way. Okay, they kind of kept it blacked out. That's what they call it when they're trying to keep things out of the news. They want it to be out of sight, out of mind deliberately. They call it a blackout. Okay. It was another case that kind of blacked out, and I'm gonna talk about that in a minute. But with Trayon's case, they kind of blacked out everything. It was kind of almost out of sight, out of mind. And you all know that the news was supposed to be all on top of, the person that was on the run and, that was in the car. It was established that there was another person that was in the car. Okay. Um, the most the news media said was the person was on the run. Okay. Now I've heard different stories. You've heard some people say that Miss Anita Wilson's son said that the other person that was in the car with his brother is no longer here, leading them to believe that it was possibly Teasy. But we know from listening to Govan and Devin Burns that Teasy didn't have the heart to go and do anything according to them, and they would know because they were around him. They said he didn't have the heart to go and on no type of missions or anything. Like, he learned everything from Devin Burns and the rest of them. They were kind of like the ones that had all of the heart to go and commit these crimes. Okay, so that's, I never believed that it was him, but I don't know. I think they kind of sealed the deal on any speculations that it could have been him, listening to the young men that knew him and that was around him. Right now, I have no doubt, he's going to trial. Supposedly, they've changed his trial, but they've been very quiet, about Trayon Ingram, and they just said that the person was on the run. That's what they said. Now, that's another reason, one of the other reasons why, because Teasy was never on the run. The news media just said, the police said that the person with Trayon Ingram was on the run. Teasy was never on the run. So that's why I never believed, okay, that it was Teasy. Now another name came up, okay, and they say it was straight drop. Okay, I don't know if it was straight drop, but that was the rumor. Okay, that allegedly it was straight drop that went and on that mission um with Trayon Ingram. Now that wouldn't be hard to believe. That wouldn't be hard to believe that it could possibly have been him, but they haven't said anything about it at this point. I find it really weird that the person that was that was with him, it wasn't allegedly, because there was definitely another person that has been established with them, they haven't said one word about. Okay, so it makes you wonder. I know, like I said, they've been very protective, keeping the media out, and I know the media has to obey when there are ongoing situations going on, especially if it's a federal type. The media can't really get involved in ongoing situations, especially when especially a federal investigation, any type, but especially federal. So I get to wondering, you know, um, about that situation. Okay, could Trayon be talking? I don't know. I don't know where I hear this from. Somebody said it. I can't really remember. I don't know if it was Govan or his attorney or somebody that stated, because Govan had wanted for Trayon to be like a witness at his trial. And one of the reasons is, I believe, is because I think that Trayon um, may have said who he felt like it was that was involved in the Young Dolph's unaliving, but he didn't know of Govan being involved. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know if Govan said it, somebody said it. And yeah, I don't know who said it, so I probably yeah, I ain't gonna say nothing else about that. But anyways, it was said. So, but they've been very protective of his case. And I'm gonna tell you another case that was similar. Okay. Y'all remember when the young man who unalived Black Youngster's brother was unalived, and when he walked out of his door, somebody hit him. Okay. The news media, it was, different days. I mean, different months. I think they said he had been unalived in May, like it had been like 4 or 5 months. And I believe that his family, the young man's family, may have contacted the media. Okay. Because what they did was they reduced his charges to manslaughter and gave him a bond. Now, if you ask me, I believe that he killed Tamani in cold blood. I think that it should have been first degree, okay? Because Tamani had walked back to his car and his back was turned, okay? Um, but for some reason or another, they was very quiet, and you have not heard them say anything about that case, So it's not what they say; it's what they don't talk about, and then you don't see the media touch it anymore. That's that's probably where the diamonds lay. Okay, so I get to wondering about that. Hey, listen, I feel like the young man was wrong for what he did to Tamani. Okay, I don't wish um death upon anyone, but it's just the idea that this young man, I hate that this happened to him. Let me make that clear. And I hate it for his family. But this young man was in Tamani's yard trying to break into his vehicles, and he walked out. He could have easily took it to another level. He was on his property trying to steal his car. Because he knew him, he just gave him a butt whooping and let him live. And you can't take a butt whooping and you get into it with him. You see him at the store, you get into it with him, you wait till he walk back to his car and is pumping his tank with his back turned, and you start popping at him. Okay. That's messed up. Okay. But you haven't heard the news media say a whole lot about that either. So his case either. So I mean, you ain't heard nobody say nothing. Okay. Anyways, let's keep going. So let's go here for a minute. Okay. Cornelius said something. All right.
Shot one of us. Cause I told him I was shot. He was like, I heard dog shot one of y'all and y'all blood on the scene. He was like, did y'all have y'all face?
That ain't what I want to see.
Sure, one no prints on.
All right, when you were wiping the car down, what car cover before?
No.
Did you know where to go get one in?
Yeah, I knew where to go get a car cover from.
Okay, and did you look it up or figure out which store?
Nah, it was an AutoZone close by, so.
But you're drunk, is that right?
Nah, let me check this out. This had it went. I saw them trailing me. U.S. Marshal was trailing me. They used to follow me the whole morning from the time.
Sunday drive, essentially, where you saw the marshal. Okay. You don't know who struck that?
No.
All right.
It was just like it.
All right. When you drove the Mercedes into the driveway.
No, I did not. I can't drive too good. I jumped out the Mercedes. Get some pills. I might have been later on. People houses down from where they car was.
How many houses?
I can't remember.
And 38,000 or 50,000 or whatever just shows up to pay your.
But he didn't represent me.
All right. And so.
But he didn't represent me.
He just paid out cash to Mr. Bailey.
I don't know how he got paid. I don't know. Yeah, he got paid though.
All right.
Then he got paid.
Okay. I mean, I think Cornelius kind of trying to, what's the word that I'm looking for? Trying to go around talking about how his attorney was paid, right? He was trying to protect probably some of his family members who had received the money from Yo Gotti and them. Okay, let's go back a little bit.
And made a statement on me. I might as well just keep it real and tell the truth. This is who hired me, right? And then there it goes. This is who brought me in.
Okay. When you tried, they asked you again.
I don't know Juke and them like that. I don't know Juke.
Okay.
So I'm not with them.
When they gave you the money.
They didn't give me the money. I was locked up.
When they gave the lawyer the money. You think Mr. Govan came up with $50,000 in cash to pay the lawyer?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation.
All right, we've already answered this. You said you know it came from them. The lawyer told you. I got it. So let's move from that to, was Mr. Juke ever interviewed by the police in this case?
I don't know.
You read the discovery in your case, did you not?
No, I ain't read all that. I ain't had a whole 1,000-some pages.
All right. So in here, when you said I've looked at the discovery after your March interview, and
I saw my part. My part was short.
Okay. Your part was short, even though you're the one with the AK-47 committing a murder, telling them about AutoZone, telling them about I went here, I went there. Let's go back. All right.
Okay, let's move a little forward. I'm trying to get to
the other guy. I don't know who I do because I'm not with their little crew. So what they talked about When I wasn't around, I don't know, sir. You know what I'm saying? I was Bobby's partner. I wasn't his partner really, but you know, once me and Bobby, he saw me and Bobby was, then he, you know, started, you know, trying to play a bundle.
All right. So a gentleman that you've just recently met decides he's going to trust you enough to tell you that there's a price on people's head. And just like that, you trust some guy living in Orange Mound to be able to come through with the money based on his representation.
Nah, it wasn't even representation. It's just, you know, when you hungry for some money, you would get out there and get your hand dirty, you know what I'm saying? And then, like I said, I had already saw Jude, like after he told us, and we went on one mission, and Bobby clarified that, you know, his brother good for it, and Jude was over there when I met, and Jude clarified that our money was gonna be good. It's go time.
Right, but remember,
We done been to the club together and everything.
I get it, but
And
let's,
Jude was at the club too.
right, I understand Joe told you the money was good, but the problem with that statement is you'd already shot at Mr. Wu, so you said close to a month or so before meeting
Nah,
with
I
Joe.
didn't say no Monday so before meeting no Jew. I didn't say that. It was a couple days later. When I pulled up and got them pills, it probably was the next day or 2-3 days later. I can't remember the timeline, but it wasn't no couple months.
So when you said 2 weeks, maybe a month,
Nah,
that was incorrect.
I didn't say that, sir. I didn't say that. It was like probably the next day I pulled up over the bottle of pills from the next day or two. I don't know exactly when. And he was like, here go, let's see right here. It's who put their work in, who shot it Woo.
All right, so if all this is already known and understood, why would Mr. Jook need you to take your phones out and then walk you through how much everybody's worth? You already knew all that.
You want me to be honest with you? I can be honest with you. Because they were saying that Mr. Govan was like one straight or nothing like that, was like informing and stuff like that. And, you know, they were saying that he was police. So
Okay,
that's why all the phones got to go outside, you know, when you talk around.
so let me back this up. You were told at the meeting that Mr. Govan could be police.
Nah, Bobby been told me that.
So Bobby told you,
And then the streets talk, you know, people in the neighborhoods were saying that, you know, he had got them popped and he had got them sent to jail and he was setting them up and stuff like that.
so let's maybe go back to scratch. You just met this guy for a short period of time over the summer. Bobby's already told you he's a snitch, maybe works for the feds.
But you can't tell me nothing about no bad like that. If he ain't did no wrong, he ain't did no police stuff. He ain't police me, so I don't just take you to the street say that about anybody. You know what I'm saying? They
Your
probably
friend-
saying it about me right now.
Your friend Bobby Carter told you that. Your friend.
The associate.
Okay.
I don't have friends. I have associates.
Right. Your associate told you that this man that you just met is a federal snitch. You can't trust him, right?
Yeah, but people say that about anybody, man. You know what I'm saying? So, no, you ain't get no police stuff with me, right?
They say that about me. I'm the police, but I'll take my crown. Okay.
Hey, I ain't got no bad
I don't
shit.
got
You
it.
know what I mean?
All right.
You cool. You
So
But only if you bother me, though. Other than that, I ain't studying you.
streets talk.
I had to put some humor in it.
Or whatever. Because he probably seen how me and him was getting, and he ain't like this, so he comes with my, you know, he police. You know what I'm saying? So I don't listen to what people say.
all right. So let me just ask.
It's just like proving guilty to prove innocent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's the problem we're having. So let me ask you
Innocent
some
until
questions.
proven guilty. However you get.
All right. So before you meet Mr. Govan, according to you, whenever that was, Bobby Carter's already giving you rumors. Your associate that he's a snitch. You can't trust him.
Nah, not before. After me and him start, you know what I'm saying, hanging out and stuff. You know what I'm saying? That was Bobby.
All right. So now you're saying Bobby told you he was a snitch after you guys
Yeah,
started hanging out?
like after he saw how our relationship was, this when he was like, you know what I'm saying, can't trust him. You know, that's why I feel that. He was like, that's why he want to take cars. He none of this or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying?
So your associate Bobby Carter that introduced you to Mr. Govan fell back because you didn't trust Mr. Govan.
Yeah, because me and Bobby had a problem too, though. So that's why I really didn't believe it, because he had put my town on play and stuff. So I really just ain't believe everything people saying. You know what I'm saying?
All right, so now you and your associate Bobby Carter had problems as well.
I
So you didn't believe
feel,
it.
yeah, so I was like really more around him than Bobby. I had feel bad about because we had little different problems and stuff too. You know?
So the same guy you went shooting with, you guys had a disagreement. So you want fair.
Okay, I think we're getting to the part that I want to make my point on. Okay.
So the car where it's parked, even though Bobby lives just a couple of doors down, we're gonna keep saying it's across from Govan's house. It was actually in front of an abandoned house, right? One or two down from Govan.
What?
The car, when you guys dropped off the Mercedes.
It was right across the street at the abandoned house from his house.
Okay, which is 2 doors down, but on the same street from Bobby Carter's house.
Yeah, it's on the same side as Bobby. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
On the same side as Bobby, but right across the street from Mr. Govan house.
Did Bobby ever tell you, call you and say, why is there a fancy Mercedes sitting in front of my house with a busted window?
I wasn't talking to Bobby at the time. Bobby texted me and said, you niggas ain't gonna fuck with me. It's actually in my phone, so Bobby the one, I don't know.
When you talk,
That's it right there. That's where I want to go from. Okay. It seemed like to me Cornelius was trying to say something. Okay. I wouldn't be surprised if him making that point, he talked about it, but then you heard he kind of backed up off of it. Excuse me. He did say that it was in his phone, and he put into the atmosphere. They said that Bobby had died from an overdose, but he did put into the atmosphere that Bobby texted him because maybe Bobby thought that he was involved in it. It would appear to me that Bobby was being threatened. Okay, so I think that could be interesting. I wouldn't be surprised. They say that it was an overdose. I guess I don't know because you hear that's an interesting story right there too. So, anyways, but there are ways to find out whether it was a deliberate overdose or not. Okay. And I'm just saying, based on what, people have come into the chat and said, it seems to me that Cornelius was putting something in the atmosphere because if somebody texts him and say, y'all ain't gonna F with me, I would think the tone is he's being threatened. And maybe he thought that Cornelius was involved in this also. Okay. So, I don't know. It's just that's why I get to wondering, because Cornelius don't mind telling nothing. Okay. He has pledged to tell any and everything he know, especially on these, I guess, group of people that he feel like has done something to him. That's why I say, and then look at the circumstances surrounding his sentencing. Cornelius was supposed to be sentenced last year, right after Straight Drop's trial. Like they set his court date to sentence him, I think November of 2024. And we're going into 2026. So it takes nothing to just bring a person in and sentence them, right? A lot of people say, well, he ain't got his attorney. Well, I mean, no judge is going to wait for you to be able to pay your attorney. They're going to give you a court-appointed attorney and get the case off the docket, okay, and keep it moving. I mean, because that's not their concern. Their concerns is if you can't afford an attorney, we're going to appoint you one. That's how it works. So it just seems that that's weird too, right? Because a sentencing is normally about maybe after the case is in front of the judge. Well, Cornelius is straight to the point. Okay. Maybe they want Daw's family in there, maybe not. I doubt it. Maybe an hour. Okay. But it's been pushed out almost 2 years. So that's why I say, could Cornelius and Trayon be could something be going on, okay, as it relates to that now? I think somebody said that they just started showing Trayon's charges. Hey, and like I said, that's interesting within itself. With Trayon, you have not heard the news media since it happened, since the year that it happened, really cover Trayon's case. And Trayon was leaving and going to Mississippi. He was traveling back and forth. Now I know you cannot talk about that because it's a safety issue, but he was going back and forth from Mississippi to Covington, traveling to court. I forget what it was that he had going on in Mississippi, but you still never know when he has a hearing. Just like through the course of all of this time, maybe Miss Wilson's family knows, I don't know, but it still would be public information, but it had not been made available maybe up until recently. Okay. Still don't hear anything about the young man that unfortunately killed Black Youngster's brother. Okay. um and you know, it's something. Okay, it's something. So I don't know. I think things are really interesting. Like, I know I don't get the opportunity to get on here much, but I hear stuff. I don't, whether it's true or not, I don't know. um but I just think that things are interesting. Hey, if you want me to say that it's over, I could never say that it's over. I'll say it's over when I know that it's over, because I don't have an issue with saying it. Now, it's not as if I wanted to keep going, but when it's over, I mean, I don't make any money on YouTube. I get on here and say, y'all, it's over. It's over. It's unfortunate. It's been a travesty of justice. Hey, but God gonna get them on the back end, all of them that was involved. I've been woman enough to do that. Um, but it's not over. I mean, the case is still open. Um, the investigations are still ongoing for some reason. We don't know why, especially if they have the two shooters. Govan was, found not guilty. So it seemed like to me it should be a closed case. Shouldn't be no ongoing investigations. It should not be any secrecy. Um, it's weird within itself. And then you got straight drop missing Teasy. Okay. One and Teasy for comfort. Okay. All of it is weird. All right. At any rate, I just wanted to get on here and talk about that. Right. This Bobby Carter situation, I wonder if it's gaining legs. I never knew who he was. I wouldn't know a picture of him or anything like that, other than they say that he allegedly passed away over overdose. I don't know. I've never looked into it. I don't want to look into it. Okay. They got people that they pay to do that. Okay. So but I think that's interesting. I, I don't know. They say he was on drugs. He could have very well passed away from an overdose. It's either, whatever happened is unfortunate because he's no longer here. And he probably was a young man. But it seems like to me Cornelius was put something into the atmosphere and then he backed up off of it. I mean, if I had to bet, if I had to guess, and being that people have come into the chat and dropped some nuggets, and we pay attention to stuff. I don't know though. Maybe something is something there too. But hey, Cornelius has never denied that that he was going to try and tell everything that he can tell. Okay. And then there's Vato. Hey, that's a whole nother story, child. Anyways, you guys, I want you guys to please like, share, and subscribe because I smell my food, my baked potato. Okay. If you would like to support the channel, you could definitely support the channel via Cash App.